Welcome to my lovely IHP community and the 5D Collective. We're going to close our day with a little bit of messages on this 112 portal, and we're having a full moon tomorrow, 1111 yesterday. A lot of ascension energies going around. And for the 5D Collective, if you're new, we are inner securely attached people and or getting there. So wholeness, no longing, and that means that you believe in your true self and that you take healing your inner child seriously, and or you have a whole inner child who's unbreakable. So we talked about that one today. We talked about a lot of things today, and I'm going to save the rest of what came for tomorrow, the full moon. But love, passion, life partners, when integrity is present, that's why it's not a I lie to you, or I have resentment, anger, envy, any of that, which is basically an insecurely attached human being who could use terror. You have emotional maturity, and so that means emotionally mature men, women, and or theys, right? So we don't say 12 karat golden ring, none of the Cinderella, and or basically, again, materialistic things from shallow, superficial. So there's a lot of ways I can bring you forth. The empowered person knows of the basic necessities: air, water, food. So of course we are loving to have also money. There's no issue with it. The 5D Collective are mystics and mindfully living and loving people. Spiritual, living and loving people. So personal growth and or spiritual growth, one and or in the same. Science and spirituality come together here. And so again, as wholeness is something made clearer today to me than it ever has been before, I'll continue making it clear to you too, means that even in the absence of another person, you know how to be gooey, ooey, ooey inside. So your ventral energy, you rule with mindfulness, mindset, and mindset practices on a day-to-day basis. So you're not feeling life hard. If you still feel life hard, that's why therapists are good. So you can get that window of tolerance expanded. Once you have a window of tolerance that you are aware of, and now you're like, yes, I want window, welcome to emotions. Now we have an emotion mature and a person who's choosing self-mastery and spiritual mastery. So that's why we maximize our clairs, psychic gifts, intuitiveness. We don't get confused. We don't play God. If you tune in again, you'll find an episode one. We find inner stillness because it's not yoga, nature. It's not only meditation. No, it's your inner securely attached solo self. So your 1-year-old, your 3 to 7, your child parts are all healed, uncharged. So you are a non-traumatized person because you know how to work charges, emotional charges, because you have a window of welcome to them. Okay, that's why the skills support emotional, mental, and physical intelligence, and that's why we hang out with empowered masculines and feminines, which are basically all empowered feminines. So you got a body, mind, it's yours. Restorative embodiment. Okay, we don't have an issue with those who are comfortable in their protection. So when we meet those people, they're not going to be partners because they're emotionally unavailable human beings. We love in a state of secure attachment with healthy, self-soothing, and regulating skills that keep us anchored in ventral, and enjoy being in our body's state of safety with connection, not protection. We know intimacy and passion for that reason, and we grow it consistently in our relationships. Romantically, you better bet. There's no relationship that has the absence of passion and romance. So I've seen a bunch of people tell you to inflame once you have union, all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, for the 4D Collective, 5D person can tell you any relationship, twin flame or soulmate, is going to be passionate because I'm an emotionally mature and mastery and empowered nervous system. Like is really clear what integration brings. It's the adolescent essence. You don't die inside. Your 3-year-old's whole. That's all very humanly explainable and a flow state from smart neuroscientists. So we have what is the ability to speak our truth as functional inner child adults. We don't lie, hide, or use passive aggressive. Nope. We don't use low self-esteem, adaptive child patterns of behavior and conversation styles or modalities. We're direct, straight shooters. We don't actually shame, blame, fault, revenge, or anger, resentment, or spite anyone. When we're upset, we know we're going to process those emotions. When we're treated like little pieces of shit from someone, it's okay. We know we can forgive because I learned it from Jesus, Holy Spirit, God, and I continued being able to practice it as I chose to stay loving and kind on purpose with integrity. and knowing that anybody who's unkind and unloving is not Lucifer. They are unkind, unloving, lack integrity. They're not emotionally available, mature people. It's a very straightforward equation. So sciences like Robert Sapolsky or Stephen Porges or Deb Dana, they all can make you very clearly aware of. So any emotionally mature, and again, true spirituality person will be able to have compassion consistently come up and know that it's not Luciferian era, Lucifer time, spiritual warfares. All of those stories are for the people who have not securely attached their inner world, so they don't have the integrated brain, bilateral, vertical, overall, and restored embodiment to be solid with who their sense of self is. So when decentralization of the self takes place or some shit's going on, they're destabilized. And then there's a bunch of more who do other stuff. But anyways, we have self-love and love for other. We have self-compassion and compassion for other. The moon is beautiful right now as it gets ready for that full moon. I wish I could show it to you. So the truth is we speak our truth with great honesty, directness, vulnerability, and that's what true love is. So it's really awesome when the 5D collective of mystics and mindfully living and loving people as inner child adults get together and have face-offs and are intellectually also part of each other's lives, because no hypervigilance, okay? So there's no Cusco tricks, if you will. And as that is what the personal and spiritual growth comes with, okay? We continue to live and love and expand our personal journey and our clear journey with each other's partners. So obviously for mystics, we love to have our partners who, whether they are mystics or not, they love to hear about tarot, Akashic records, our past lives, future lives, and to support us as we, those of us who are practitioners, content creators, podcast hosts, continue doing what we're here in the future, workshops, retreats. Make sure to sign up for the masterclass as well, and for one-to-one mentorship. It's a minimum 6-month commitment for you, because personal growth and or spiritual growth involve that practice daily, but also are coming together depending on how we organize it. So the practice is, it's like, when you go work out, right, for the gym, that same thing goes. Okay, so putting that aside, the topics were integrity, true love, and real partnership come with whole, inner, securely attached self, people, and mystics. You can tune on to that one. That was part of today's messages. Tomorrow we'll be looking into how the consistent inner stillness, raising of your frequency, and grounding yourself when anchored in ventral regulation is why yoga, meditation, mindfulness come into service of you. But really the inner stillness is because you own your sense of self. So your child parts are good. You're taking care of that ventral vagal of your own, self-regulation. So in the presence now of a true partner, the true partner is only a person who can have, again, a healthy, functional inner child adult conversation with you. It's because they're confident and they're not a teenage version who's holding back, who would need Terreal to love themselves first and then to not hold back. For men, he helps them be emotionally available. For women, he helps them not be little princesses. And totally, I was like, wow, finally somebody who said it, because that 12-karat gold ring that fancy other woman was, I'm like, what the heck? Okay, so the other episodes, blind faith souls who don't play God, people like us, love and are unbreakable, unshakable, and unfoolable, because we do know that God is always in the lead. You know what I mean? So we don't play God. And so no mystic actually is the only way for you to embody and expand your spiritual process. It's all up to you. With the will to heal what is child parts, get yourself with a good relationship with your mental and emotional planes. Now that you have a window of welcome to the body and the mind in that somatic harmony, now we have a person who has access to their spiritual awakening and process, and is not going to get stuck in a spiritual ego or bypasser. Same thing goes with the science ego bypassers, and those are all the paused self-egos who follow fancy man and women suit, who tell them to stay comfortable in protection, because that's what they are more inclined to feel safe in, because when they are near people like us, as Deb Dana and Stephen Porges have made me aware of in a recent quote. Well, Deb Dana, Stephen Porges in a different way. Deb Dana, in a way of saying positive emotions can have a dysregulating effect on people who are comfortable in protection and not connection. So emotionally unavailable men, women, they will not be navigating towards the 5D collective because they don't want healthy, self-empowered, self-soothing, self-regulating partners. they're playing out their 0 8 year old. Okay, so being yourself spiritually, mindfully, whole self, love, and flow. We use good stress in life and relationships. And as I was supporting with these lovely messages for today, your partner and or partners, depending on your dynamic between our polyamory community and monoamory, we have two groups, but in either or, secure attachment isn't, you're not poly enough, you have to be poly, you can't be poly. That's not what grown-ups do. There's not the fear of risking a relationship, you see? So you are who you are, and you get to know them, they get to know you. And that's the part of what grown-ups do. So nothing changes that when you find actual inner child adults, so empowered grown-ups. And that's the 5D collective. And thanks to the good therapists, we have more people on YouTube understanding this. And then we have fun here because, I mean, come on, Claireland is amazing. Okay, let me share. So resourcefulness comes when you have found integrity thanks to replenishing that well, which is you using your ventral vagal energy and then resonating consistently with an inner growth mindset, mindfulness, and mindset practices that have you surrender to your own whole self. And now that you're a higher self of yourself, to be able to be consistently in the I'm not afraid of the infinite possibilities. I can face the uncertainty of this next second and tomorrow because I use my human secondary consciousness. For me personally, it's not been hard. I said, as I share consistently, I grew up with a good mom, a twin, and God, Jesus, Holy Spirit. So I won't be able to eliminate, not that I want to, but as a 5D mystic, and I say 5D because Christ consciousness, and again, there's those who are of different, but you don't have to use it. It's not a coin term or anything. But I did notice that the 5D body type, so those of us who are grounded with our ventral vagal, we have bilateral, vertical, and overall integration. So empowered mystics and mindfully living and loving people, they're able to not be part of the groups of, anointed ones. Okay, so they're realistic about mystics and sciences, and they can see the compatibility and the amazement that our future will be. Yes, it's different than yesterday, but we're not afraid of it. We also don't have fear of any Lucifer because one, even if wanted to bring that topic in, God always wins. But two, there's Patrick McNamara, neuroscientists, and a bunch more that prove no person has any demon possessing anyone. And when natural events take place, and I know there's a bunch of people with stories for the collective that wants stories, like the fires that I heard recently are going on. But there's more than just that. There's other fires and other volcanoes. I've heard a bountiful of the 4D collective mystics say it's devils, demons coming from its evil energy. And I'm like, okay, you're really mistreating the element of fire. You're mistreating that which potentially is a bunch of different things. And what I mean by is you're dehumanizing and you're creating a story, and it's a story of good and evil, which is attracting those people who need to be superheroes and supervillains they're in their gut. They're not in a ventral vagal. They're in a group of people like a flat earthers group. Okay, so love is straightforward. It's easy. Relationships straightforward. The globe straightforward. But there is more that we can look into together. The difference is here. One, we do personal development, self-help. So I focus on stories for each other. So again, as this lovely portal, you're getting clearer on how you're going to utilize your own presence, thankfully, here to support the earth as we go through this transformative time. And making a difference and being a leader, as Sadhguru and any good leader has pointed out, is starting with your community. And so when you are in a ventral energy, you already begin with your community. And when you're able to welcome people with differences, you're already doing something. And then when you've chosen a career, so it's not hard, it's simple. But it's only simple when you can use two sides of the brain. You don't have child parts that freak you out because you have thoughts and emotions that you're able to have a window of welcome because you welcome yourself as you are. So being yourself makes easy love. So when someone doesn't know how to be a life partner, that's why till death do you part, sickness and in health. I learned about this in catechism, which is where my teenage boyfriend story, I share all about it. People still think of this with their own opinions. I have no opinion except for I had a good time. I appreciated it like I appreciate all my relationships. And when I have things to say, people contort it and twist it thinking I have trauma because they think crying means trauma. While no, Stephen Porges will inform you that you will go through experiences. What makes a difference with if we have stored trauma or not is our nervous system. And as Dr. Daniel Siegel points out, by the time I was through, I was already a differentiated self, which meant that my thoughts and emotions stayed Maria's. And I can tell you all, as my mother can, how that continued to be it. So when you own your sense of self and your self doesn't get fragmented, a child can't be broken when they did grow up in an environment where they got to learn self-respect and self-love, which do mean something. And the whole self is a verb that consistently expands. That's what a life partner is, because they know their own life. The essence of their life is alive as their true self versus a paused self that can use a Patrick Tian, a Terry Real, or anybody else who will teach them how to love their self first, unpause their self, become their wholeness, stop longing for connection from a self-loathing, gut-wrench, torn apart nervous system. So get out of the protective. And then once you're easily in the connectedness, you're going to see how fun it is to have a bunch of friends and people. And that it's not scary to have conflict. I mean, really, is it conflict? So again, when you have an empowered feminine or masculine, there's nothing that's going to be like, let me stand down from expressing to my opinion. Why would I lie to you? What kind of a relationship is this if I don't tell you what I'm thinking for real and feeling? And so once again, this is what you can know from love, passion, and life partners with integrity, emotional maturity, and wholeness that are present, is that they will be not I'm going to change my mind and come in and out and be silent and make up excuses of why I can't. I'm going to be a straight shooter. So there's consistency in how people show up, and that's in general. But romantically, you don't find people that ditch you. Oh, and when you hear about people who tell you nothing's forever, no shit, Sherlock's. Okay, so this is that part of where any relationship can work if two people want it to work. Number one. Two, love is the most amazing of those experiences you have within you, and then sharing it with someone else. I'm a mystic, so I know my oversoul as the empowered feminine of my oversoul, which is why I will abstain from this part of the messages because it's different for the empowered feminine of one's own oversoul, because we know our masculines and we know who they are, what they are. We know everything. Even before we know everything, we already know everything. And we are okay with what we don't know, because we're not surrendering and waiting for something to fall from the sky. God gave me 2 hands and 2 feet in 24 hours. I might die this second. Okay? That's when you're mindfully aware, accountable, regulating of living, that my last breath might be while I am recording this, but it doesn't weigh me down. It's an actual reality. So you better bet that anyone who lacks this capacity to be aware is not somebody that, again, an empowered feminine is going to be holding their breath for. That's one of the things that I would love for everyone to understand of what an empowered feminine mystic can inform you of, which is why whatever, I'm not even going to bother. All that I saw the 4D do with everything. It's beyond a shadow of a doubt something I found insulting, but then I understood, thanks to the trauma therapists, how many human beings out there, mystics included, are insecurely attached. So they don't own their 0-1-year-old and they don't own their 3-year-old. So I understand they don't have the sense of safety and okay to risk a relationship, and they long to consistently feel whole with another while I'm whole without another. But remember that I come with a twin, so my implicit memory from the belly doesn't have half. I have a wholeness with another mammal. And I laugh because this is why Robert Sapolsky and his determined is important, and sciences can share something that, for me, God told me, leave alone the 0-1-year-old's human suffering. And there's that free will that we all will know of. You make choices. So how are you going to allow the events outside of you to transform you? But this is where I can say that with a sense of safety within Maria's body as a 3-year-old who said, no, you can't spank me, it's my body. And then I went to make a suitcase. Okay, I can say that because I know my story. Do you know your story, how you were feeling at 3? And are you honest with yourself? And so this is that part. And do you understand from the attachment category to your personality patterns, PDP framework I'm looking into with Dr. Daniel Siegel, do you understand, like, if you're not empowered, what this means? Terra Real can help you understand. So can Patrick Tian. So I will understand why the mystics over there made all these stories, and why there's so many people, I met them as teenagers, who don't have wholeness, and they long for wholeness with another human being, which is why they're not impressive to an empowered feminine. But there's the capacity to know you got a free will choice of how to behave, and how to treat each other, and then how to pursue. So death do part, sickness and in health. These are words that don't mean anything when I'm seeing people who don't know how to treat each other with respect, with kindness, with compassion, and with non-reactivity in a ventral vagal state from an inner child adult, because they didn't go and get therapy, and they're not grown-ups. They're adaptive child parts who need Terreal because they don't even know how to talk about things, because they get into their threat response, which means that they're fighting each other instead of supporting each other, because in both cases, when you have people who don't know how to maintain differentiation and link, they are in a state of stress, not the good stress, distress. So relationships are really beautiful for the emotionally mature, whole people, and that's where, if you are that, great. If for any reason you have challenges, Terry, Patrick Jehan, they're awesome. They can help to help you get to that step. Meantime, passion is very beautiful with empowered masculine and feminine, because again, like there's I love to love, and my baby, he loves to dance, and he loves to learn, expand, and not cast stones, and speak all night long, all night, and have honest conversations. So, I mean, the reality is you grow more loving, more passionate, more everything. You strengthen all those relationships. Imagine the romantic one and or ones. It doesn't go downhill ever, because you consistently are on a high thanks to prefrontal cortex and your ventral vagal, and that's the mindfulness living and loving person and mystic, because we put it into practice with mindset all the time, not just sometimes, because hey, 24 hours I ain't gonna talk shit in my brain. I got an imagination. I use the bright sides of neuroplasticity, neutrality and duality. It works wonders. And as you process emotions through that, you'll notice why compassion is different than the Zen master who does rumination, and people who don't put it into practice is because they call their emotions laundry, and they continue judging things that are happening without noticing that they didn't get themselves soothed first, and then say, okay, how am I going to allow myself to enrich my moment, with who, people, what to do, and there you go. So anyways, again, together that makes two. And we're going to do I Love to Love, but also a pocket full of starlight. So what do? Perry Como, I love that song. Take a pocket full of starlight, and I forgot it right now, but you all know it. So we'll be back with more. Tomorrow's our full moon. In the meantime, I want to go check out the full moon that's staring me right in the eye and take a nice picture. Thanks for stopping by. Have a wonderful day, evening, depending where you're at, and welcome, empowered, emotionally mature lovers. I look forward to bringing you more tomorrow.